And when you feel like you're nothing, but you wanna be something, yeah, well, all you really need is hope. I just want you to trust me if you wanna be something.
That's right. Let's go. Yeah, when you're feeling down and you're out, like you got nothing but doubt, you're alone in the crowd, just trying to figure it out. All of this cloud and this money got you feeling left out. Listen up to me now, every word that's out of my mouth. Wake up, it's me. You're gonna follow your dreams, or are you just gonna be another cog in the scene? You feel the hope in this beat, yeah, the hope that you need. Just proceed and be exactly what you want it to be. I feel right and I'm proud, hype and I'm loud. I'ma shout all about how I feel in the now. Ain't nobody ever gonna try to change me till I'm dead, pushing up daisies. I'm alone in the crowd, I won't feel down. I got hope right now, and I know I'll be found. I don't really care just what all other haters gotta say. I know everything I do is gonna make them fade away,
And when you feel like you're nothing, but you wanna be something, yeah, well, all you really need is hope. I just want you to trust me if you wanna be something,
yeah,
then all you really need is hope.
Take a look in the mirror, are you seeing some fear? You hear the voice in your ear, can you start to see clear? Are the bad thoughts near? Or can you be where your feet are, when you stand right here and say no? I'm never gonna give up, I'm never gonna slow. The one that doesn't give up, never loses to a foe. The one that could show to myself I could go all the way to the top, can't stop me. I'm a soldier, always closer till it's over. Older, but I'm bolder, moving forward, molder, never slower. Good to know ya, don't go make me drop my shoulder.
Hi, everyone. How are you guys today? It's so good to see everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. If you were just coming in, make sure you hit the like button and comment on the live streams after the video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. All of those things help the channel grow, help other people see different types of cases, and follow the true crime community. It's good to be back. Hi, B. Tim. How are you? Hi, Bluefish. Pleads not guilty to what? He is pleading not guilty to the kidnapping of 13-year-old Wynter Wagoner. Let me turn this music the rest of the way off. And so he is pleading not guilty to these crimes that he is being accused of. We'll go more into detail about that. But 13-year-old Wynter Wagoner was missing in Kentucky for 73 days before she was located safe after calling some family members. And they found her. They brought her home, and this man was arrested in Maryland and extradited now to Kentucky. So we're going to go into all those details. But first, let's let everybody get in here because I once again just kind of popped live and did not notify anybody in advance. So hi, Libby Creations. Hey, everybody loved my Sleuth Mom cup. I used it on New Year's Eve at the get together that I went to hold my energy drinks that I was drinking. I was trying to think of the word. It was holding my energy drinks, and everybody was like in love with it. So I referenced them over to your website. I'm not sure if it's still kind of up and running or what you got going on. So more than one crime at Bluefish. I'm thinking it's probably going to be more than one crime at some point. The investigation is ongoing. We do have the full press conference to watch. I will tell you guys in advance that the press conference itself has very, very bad quality whenever it's starting out. However, we'll see how that goes. Also, just in case you guys did not notice, we have the stream going kind of dual right now. I'm trying out this whole vertical live stream thing so that people who are watching from their phones get the video kind of fit to their screen. I'm not sure how I feel about it right now because I was kind of glancing at my phone to see how it's formatting. And I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it because it kind of just cuts off a lot of the graphics. But we will see what happens whenever I start showing the press conferences and things like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to figure out a different way to fit the images to the screen so that it looks better on those vertical streams. But we'll deal with that kind of as we go. My hope is to upload also to TikTok and start really just building all of the channels back up. A lot of you guys have followed me and know that at one point I was working on building all of the different sites, and then kind of life went crazy. With different medical things for my kids and just busy at work and things like that, and kind of fell off. And so we're getting back into everything slowly but surely, just going to start trying to rebuild the Sleuth family. So if you guys are coming in and you're not a member of the Sleuth family already, consider joining the Sleuth family. We'd love to have you here. We are a nice little close-knit community that has been together for the last 5 years now that we have been streaming and things like that. A lot of us have gotten very close over the years and are been around for a while. See, Sleuth family, 47 months. Thank you so much, B Tim, for all of your support over the years. I truly do appreciate it. Hi, Ramblin' Jerome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Did Wynter get lured in from Discord? So I am hearing different types of online sites. This was an online relationship that did develop. He did take her out of state originally to Florida and then took her to Maryland. So it'll be interesting. Hi, BC. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get into all of the deets, right? Where are we at? So let me pull up the press conference first. I think that the press conference is a little bit enlightening. Like I said, they have horrible quality. It is not on my end. This is unfortunately the press conference itself that must have had bad service, is my guess, whenever they were actually recording it. And so you'll see, like, there's going to be flashes on the screen. It's also going to have like these green lines and things of that nature. There is nothing I can do about it. Closed captioned is on, though, for those of you guys who are, let's see, for those of you guys who may need closed captioned, but I will also audio boost everything as well as we're going. So if you need closed captions, the CC in the top corner. With that being said, it also does put me about a minute behind you guys in the live chat. So it does take me just a second to be able to see what you guys are actually typing, but it's worth it to me so that people who need to utilize closed captions are able to do so. So let me go ahead and pull this up. BC, 39 months. Thank you so much for being here all this time. You have been very important to the community with all of the help that you have given over the years. You, Seal, Bushes, Ramblin' Rome, B Tim. We have this little crew that has just all been together since the beginning, pretty much, and I love each and every one of you guys. So here we go.
And thankful for the opportunity that we've had to work with them, the efforts that they've made as well. I'm going to ask you before we begin to bow together with me for prayer.
It does get better volume-wise in just a second.
Father, we're here just to thank you and to praise you for the
He starts off with prayer.
home. We know that ultimately that's your goal for all of us and all of them. So we thank you for allowing us to work and to be a part of this process, knowing ultimately by your grace and by your love, we are here and Wynter is home. We thank you for your love and your grace in Jesus' name. Amen. We're here today to express our appreciation to many agencies and officers, offices, and individuals united to work for about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 70 plus days to help bring a missing child home.
It gets better. I promise. It gets better in just a second.
A success and a life and a family restored.
Oh, it's not going to let me pause it.
Forward to what the days ahead bring. You hear a whole lot about the division within our country, and negative things tend to get a lot of airtime.
Hold on.
But I'm telling you that we're here today because a multitude of agencies and individuals and organizations throughout the eastern half of the United States and Commonwealth of Kentucky and the state of Maryland, working together, putting aside all differences and territorial instincts and all the things that go with that.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to refresh it so that I can fix it. It's not going to fix that much, though. This is the entire press conference is this way. But yes, the earbuds will help. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop talking because I know those of you who are trying to hear it with the earbuds probably have it turned up the whole way. Around the 3-minute mark, the audio does improve. And so just hang tight. But I was wondering, like, why have I not seen the full press conference anywhere? And like, why am I just seeing like itty bitty clips of it? And really what it comes down to is this is the quality that they put out. And so that's why the press conference hasn't been very many places. So
I'll introduce the speakers individually as they come up, but I'm going to introduce them to you now. We will be hearing from Jeremy Honecker, who is the U.S. District Marshal for the Eastern Kentucky. You'll also hear from Deputy U.S. Marshal Collier Phillips. And ultimately, you will hear from Karen Kelly, who is the Chief of Staff for Congressman Hal Rogers' office. I'm going to take just a moment, and I apologize if we've overlooked anyone. I promise you it was unintentional. But just an individual thanks to the United States Marshals Service, the FBI, the London office, the Office of Congressman Rogers, Rockcastle County Attorney's Office. Special mention to Deputy Sam Brock, who is our Chief Deputy and Detective, and Deputy Dustin Saylor, who both worked tirelessly on this case and with all of the agencies that are involved. We'd also like to thank the Laurel County Sheriff's Office, Knox County Sheriff's Office, our County Judge's Office, our Court Security Officers, our administrative staff, the Madison County Sheriff's Office, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, Scott County Sheriff's Office, the Richmond Police Department, and the Montgomery County, Maryland Police Department. Also the Mount Vernon Police Department and all of our volunteer fire departments here within the county, the Rockcastle County Constables, the Rockcastle County Board of Education, the Commonwealth of Kentucky Cabinet for Families and Children, and the National Center for Exploited and Missing Children. Thousands of civilian volunteers and people who called and cared and prayed. You made the difference. Each person doing their part. The Bible says that it's a wonderful thing for good and pleasant for the brothers to dwell together in unity. And, kids don't always play well together, and neither do adults. But in this case, lots of people from lots of diverse areas united, made a conscious, committed effort to find this young lady and bring her home safe. And again, it's just a good day. So without further ado, I will turn the podium over to Deputy Marshal Jeremy Honecker.
Good afternoon, guys. Appreciate the opportunity to come out and talk to you. Thank God for the family and being able to have a positive outcome. I mentioned to him a little bit earlier. It seems like this could have went a completely different wrong way, and we thank them for their continued prayers for you guys for getting her on television and the news to be able to bring that message that I honestly believe was probably one of the reasons that had the ability for her to make those phone calls. The collaboration, you heard him talk about a bunch of law enforcement agencies all across the country. It amazes me that when we are able to collaborate and we have those force multipliers, that we can do some amazing things. And that's kind of all I have to say. Thank you for our troops, the Deputy United States Marshals and Special Deputy U.S. Marshals from D.C. and Maryland and here in Kentucky. Did an outstanding job with their state and local partners.
Good afternoon. My name is Collier Phillips. I'm a Deputy United States Marshal with the United States Marshal Service. I'm currently assigned to the Eastern District of Kentucky, London office, where I'm a team leader on the Central Kentucky Fugitive Task Force. The London office covers 14 counties here within southeastern Kentucky, but Central Kentucky Fugitive Task Force covers 63 counties throughout the Commonwealth. Since 1789, the United States Marshal Service has been the lead agency for apprehending local, state, and federal violent fugitives around the world. This is credited to the personnel and partners on our district task forces, our violent offenders task forces, and our regional fugitive task forces. Those task forces were formed based on the Presidential Threat Protection Act of 2000. And in 2025, the USMS arrested over 70,000 people, including one we're going to talk about today. We have also led ongoing enforcement operations such as Memphis Safe Task Force, as well as the Safe and Beautiful DC Task Force. Thanks to the Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act, also known as the JVTA of 2015, the USMS formed the Missing Child Unit, which helps assist and lead missing child investigations and operations throughout the country, such as We Will Find You 1 and 2, Operation Home for the Holidays, and Operation Northern Lights. Since 2015, the USMS has located and recovered nearly 4,000 children, including one we're going to talk about today. This is a testament to the hard work and dedication of the people in our agency, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Please let me remind you that now we have a current criminal investigation, and that means there are some things we're not going to disclose now or comment on. It's not a matter of not wanting to be transparent. It's just simply the fact we're going to do these right. I say all that to say why we got here today, and it's the most important part. Wynter Wagoner. In October of 2025, me and my team contacted Chief Detective Sam Brock and Sheriff Shannon Franklin and offered our assistance in locating Wynter. During this time, we reached out to deputies in southern West Virginia and northern Ohio to get some answers on some leads that led our investigation in that direction. And we truly appreciate their cooperation and help on getting that in a timely manner. In November of 2025, the Marshals Service, Rockcastle County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and Kentucky State Police met with Joe and Marsha Truskowski. I'm sorry if I missaid that. Wynter's foster's parents, who provided us information and pointed our scope in the right direction, and we can't thank them enough for doing that. From then on, our team, who I'm about to list out individually because they deserve every bit of praise and recognition during this time, worked tirelessly to respond to every single tip that came in, day or night, no matter what the hour. That team includes, again, guys from the Rockcastle County Sheriff's Office, specifically Chief Deputy and Detective Sam Brock, Deputy Dustin Saylor, and Sheriff Franklin, but also the rest of their deputies, their support staff, and their dispatch. And when I tell you that the Rockcastle County, the people of Rockcastle County should be proud to have these guys serving them, I was very humbled to see a department who lacks the adequate resources to be able to respond to tips in such a timely manner. It was amazing to watch. From Kentucky State Police, Detective James Royal and criminal analyst Chris Daniels, who is also assigned to the FBI. Also with the FBI, task force officers Dylan Blair and Taylor McDaniel, whose parent agencies are London Police Department and Laurel County Sheriff's Office. Also with the FBI, Adam Shepis and FBI analyst Rachel Hancock. From the Marshal Service, I'd like to thank Deputy and Team Leader on Central Kentucky Fugitive Task Force, Andy Elkins, and his task force officers in Pikeville, as well as Jason Hardwick, my task force officer over here. Our team can't run without him, and I have the pleasure of working with him every single day. He puts in long hours, and we can't thank him enough. His parent agency is Kentucky State Probation for All. The sheriff listed all the other agencies that helped in the missing child investigation, so I won't comment on that. But again, I just want to make sure that the people of Rockcastle County know that their sheriff's office and their law enforcement here in this county did a phenomenal job on this investigation. I also want to recognize the family, friends, and associates of Wynter. We can't do our jobs without the public. We appreciate any and every tip and every little bit of information that was given. But specifically, I want to recognize Haley Whitehead, who is Wynter's aunt, and Dusty Wagoner, who is Wynter's father. They were both a testament to being able to thrive during an extremely emotional and tough time. This leads us to December 26, 2025. Our team was contacted by Haley and Dusty, stating that Wynter was on the phone with them at that moment and that she was in Maryland. At that time, I contacted my marshal, Jeremy Honecker, who was on detail up in DC, and he got a team together within minutes to start heading towards the location that we had suspected for Wynter. And that takes a lot of moving parts, and I can't thank him enough for getting that done within a timely manner. It was amazing to watch. Marshal Honecker was able to assemble a team from the Marshal Service, DC Superior Court Missing Child Unit, the Capital Area Regional Fugitive Task Force, and senior inspectors from other regional fugitive task forces that were also assigned to the detail. They were able to link up with Montgomery County police officers, Maryland, who also had received a call in reference to Wynter. At approximately 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the team arrived at the house on the 12,000 block of Dalewood Drive in Silver Spring, Maryland. At that time, Wynter was located, recovered safe and sound, which was our primary mission from the get-go. The team that responded and recovered her from that residence did an absolutely outstanding job with top-notch professionalism, and I'm going to circle back to them later. The team was also directed to a 37-year-old male who was later identified as Christian Delgado. Before I speak on the circumstances of his arrest, I want to make a notion again that Sheriff Franklin also spoke on. In order to do things right in our realm, not just right, but the right way the first time during a very complex and dynamic situation, it takes time and there's a lot of moving parts. It takes time to gather probable cause. It takes time to apply for and be granted an arrest warrant. It takes time to talk to the right people to get those things done. And it especially takes time when you have officers from 4 different states, several different agencies trying to get that done. Sorry, I lost my spot. That collaboration between the boots on the ground in Maryland and DC and our team in Kentucky was a testament on how to get that job done the right way, flawlessly. The patience that everyone showed with each other during that, again, dynamic and complex situation was humbling, to say the least. No one cared about a headline. No one cared about jurisdiction. Everyone cared about doing the right thing the right way. With that being said, again, just can't say enough about Detective Sam Brock and Sheriff Shannon, but Sam Brock was able to present probable cause based on the information relayed real time from the Marshal Service and Montgomery County PD personnel to get an arrest warrant for Delgado for kidnapping of a minor. We're not going to comment on the circumstances of those cases, yes, because it is an ongoing criminal investigation. Delgado was taken into custody on scene by the U.S. Marshals and Montgomery County Police Department without incident. He was then transported to Montgomery County Police Department facility later that night. Let me now recognize the guys and girls that were on the ground at the time in Maryland. That is Deputy U.S. Marshal Sam Lee, who is with the DC Superior Court Missing Child Unit, Deputy Jaron Arrington, senior inspectors from all over the country, Aaron Rodenzer, David Younglis, Joshua Gowdy, Chris Vitelli, and Preston Davies, as well as Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal Felix Carrion, and again, Marshal Honecker. who's back here behind me. From the Montgomery County Police Department, officers, detectives, and personnel, Laura McDonald, Nicholas Mohart, Corporal Amir Jabiri, Sergeant Michelle Barger, Sergeant Garcia, Detective Daniel Gomez, and a big thank you to Chief Mark Yamada. His crew is absolutely professional and awesome to work with. And I know, just like the sheriff said, I know there's people that I've forgotten. Please know that we are so thankful for your efforts, and we really appreciate your time. At this time, I'm pleased to announce that a federal detainer has been lodged on Christian Delgado for a federal complaint warrant that has been issued for his arrest. And I'd like to take a minute to recognize the Eastern District of Kentucky, United States Attorney's Office. I may be a little biased, but I can tell you we have the best United States Attorney's Office in the country here in the Eastern District, and I'll go to battle for that. They are phenomenal to work with, and they work day in, day out, no matter what hour, to make sure that our communities are safe and our children are safe at home. I can't say enough about them. So thank you to the U.S. Attorney's Office. I talked a lot about the collaboration, as well as Sheriff Shannon did, but I want to touch on it again. Here in southeastern Kentucky, it doesn't matter what badge you have. What matters is that we are a team. Doesn't matter what county, what city, what agency, we are a team. Not just the ones standing up here or in the back. It's every agency that operates in the Appalachian region of the United States. Day in, day out, we work together. We have the best rescue crews who also assisted on this, the EMA and dispatchers. We have the best DCBS and child advocacy workers. We have the best county and commonwealth attorneys. We have the best district, circuit, and family court judges. We have the best federal magistrates and district court judges. And again, we have the best law enforcement, arguably, in the country. Not just from the agencies that are here today, but from your local, state, and county agencies, as well as agencies like ATF, DEA, Homeland Security, ICE ERO, U.S. Forest Service, and U.S. Postal Inspectors who had also had a tie in this case. All these agencies on a daily basis here in southeastern Kentucky work every day together, not just on this case, but every case. We all work together to arrest violent criminals and keep our children safe and sound in their homes with their families. I can tell you personally that I appreciate working with them every day. I'm just humbled to be here. And again, in this case, I can't exemplify more the Rockcastle County Sheriff's Office, who made sure that every tip was answered in a timely fashion. Again, it's hard to explain all the moving parts that are within law enforcement, but they did the job flawlessly. And I look forward to working with them for a long time in the future. With all that being said, there is an open federal criminal investigation on Mr. Christian Delgado. The United States Marshals Service and the Federal Bureau of Investigation are taking lead on that case, and we won't comment on it due to the nature and it being open. But because of that collaboration, I want to send a message out to the people of southeastern Kentucky and to anybody that plans on coming down here. Don't come down here and commit violent crime. Do not come down here and sell drugs. Do not come down here and commit crimes against our children. We will find you, we will arrest you, and we will make sure that you do your time in prison. We are very serious about our community and the safety and well-being of that, and we will work no matter when to make sure that we ensure that. So don't come down here with that mess. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
that's a tough one to follow. Marshall, I don't know that anybody thanked you. Where'd you go? Oh, I don't know that anybody thanked you properly. So I think we all owe you a debt of gratitude for being out front, for making sure that people coming after our children in our community in southeastern Kentucky are going to go exactly where they deserve, which is prison. So let's show them all a huge round of applause. I'm just here to say thank you. Thank you to law enforcement. Thank you to everybody that had a part in this. Wynter's family reached out to our office. It's really you have those moments that are a God thing. They reached out to our office about, I don't know, maybe a short period of time, a couple weeks or so, after John Walsh with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children was in our office. And they asked if we could help. And the first thing that Congressman Rogers thought of, he looked at me and said, make sure you call John Walsh, because he shared his story of losing his child, Adam, years ago, before he founded the National Center. That's something Congressman Rogers has always supported, will continue to support. And as someone who works for him, and I'm able to see the support that he affords and gives law enforcement through the Department of Justice, he wants me to assure everybody that's going to continue. We know this could have ended differently, and we're very thankful that it didn't, but we know it didn't because of the heroes standing behind me and the ones that the Marshal talked about. And let us go to bed grateful, not only for living in the greatest country on earth, but let us go to bed thankful because of the peacemakers and those that make sure we have what we need in our communities to keep our kids safe. So thank you all very much.
I'm Trooper Scotty Pennington. I'm the Public Affairs Officer at the State Police Post here in London. Hey, God is good. Give a hand for God helping in this case. God is good. Hey, I talked to Chief Deputy Brock numerous times on this case, and you know, the news media would call me and then call him and just back and forth. Thank you to the news media. You know, sometimes we get a little aggravated wearing us out on cases, but thank you all for keeping this case alive, because this case not only hit Kentucky, you know, it hit Eastern United States, and it took you all pushing that information out and us sharing it on Facebook. So sometimes I get aggravated with Facebook, but hey, Facebook was amazing, and you all done an amazing job with this case. And with these guys' help and God and Wynter doing all the things together, it worked together to bring her home. Now I'll do a little educational tip on this. I know a little 10-year-old kid that just recently got a phone for Christmas. Just recently got a cell phone. 3 days later, already dealing with the dark side of that cell phone. Please, parents, be nosy with your children. Be nosy when they're playing somebody on their little Xbox or their PlayStation game and they're talking to them, and maybe they're talking a little inappropriate. You don't know where that monster is hiding. That monster is on that Xbox. That monster is on that cell phone. So please, parents, if I can give you any advice, and I'm a parent of 3, be nosy of what your children are doing. And give it another big round for this group back here, because they worked their tails off on this case.
I'd like to reiterate, can't be thankful enough for the privilege of working with the men and women of these agencies and organizations and the individuals that have called and taken part in this case. It's not just an honor to be your sheriff. It's an honor to work with you and have you working with us. And these things came together to bring a safe conclusion to this case. I want you to know, and I know everyone up there, I can speak a little bit for every agency and every person up here, our most sacred trust and our greatest privilege is protecting and defending the children of our communities. Every person up here will and has already dealt with the effects of PTSD and the anxiety that comes with laying awake at night wondering where a child is. Please remember, there are still 24 missing children listed in the Commonwealth of Kentucky under the age of 18. There are 1,630 under the age of 18 in the United States. We still have ways to go. And we're not going to quit. And I say that for each and every one of these. One other message to the parents and children of this community: we're here for you, and we're going to continue to be here for you. For the predators, perverts, the drug dealers, second only to our commitment to keep those kids safe and find them and defend them, is our commitment to come and get you and take your butt to jail. We're not finished, but we're proud to be here, and we're very thankful for the result that the good Lord and all these people managed to pull off. Thank you for your time. Thank you to the media again for keeping this case alive, to give the opportunities for Wynter to be found safely. We appreciate y'all too. Thank you.
Give everybody a second to turn down before I start talking. Yeah, they were in the Matrix. That video quality was just awful throughout the entire thing, but I'm glad that they did a full press conference update to be able to tell us some of the details about this man that had Wynter Wagoner. So there's been a lot of conflicting information about how she was found, because police did say that somebody had seen her with him, thought the relationship was inappropriate, and that they had notified authorities. And then we seen an article posted we kind of talked about on a previous live stream. If you guys didn't watch that, go back and check it out. But they had we had seen an article that said that her aunt had notified authorities. He also mentioned during this press conference that they had notified authorities. From my understanding of the situation, from what was posted in the Facebook group, there was somebody who seen Wynter with this man, had Googled Wynter's name and realized that she was a missing child, and asked Wynter if she needed help, and offered their phone so that she could make a phone call if she needed to make a phone call. And so that is how she reached out to her aunt, allegedly, right? And that is how she let them know where she was and things of that nature. Um, and so it's just crazy. So she's 13 years old whenever she went missing. She had been missing since October. 73 days she was gone before she was able to reach out for help. She did leave on her own. She did walk out of her home to go meet this man to be able to leave, but she is 13 years old. She is not old enough to make that decision. She is not wise enough to know the horrible things that can happen to her once she makes that decision. And she's also not old enough to be able to make the decision to travel back to her home once she's in that situation. And so we don't know the details yet of what exactly happened to her while she was gone, but in 73 days, I'm going to imagine that we are going to see more charges come up. Um, we don't know everything that took place, but we do know that he took her to Florida first, before then traveling with her to Maryland. He is saying that he is not guilty. He is saying that she told him that she was 18, that he had no indications that she was a missing child, that he had no indications that she was a minor at any point. Wynter does look a little bit on the older side, but I don't think I would guess 18. Um, es- Especially not, I'm sure her behaviors, things of that nature, were not that of an 18-year-old. But right, poor kid, what she must have gone through. I don't blame a 13-year-old for being in this situation. Let me just make that clear. I don't think that she um I don't think that she has the mental capacity to make the right decisions in these situations. And that's why devices are so dangerous. That's why the internet for kids unchaperoned is so dangerous. Even video game platforms, whether it is Roblox or even Trivia Crack, I found out, unfortunately, through my son, has its own social media platform. My child, who is not allowed on social media, had his own Instagram like account on Trivia Crack. And so it's all of these platforms. You have to look into everything your child is doing. You have to look through their devices, really do the due diligence to make sure that who they are talking to is somebody that they know. And I know that sounds kind of hypocritical because as an adult, I have made lifelong friends from my YouTube channel. I have genuinely connected with people on this YouTube channel that I would consider family. I have talked to people on this channel and that I've never met in person, that I've never technically seen their face because they could be absolutely anybody on the internet. Um, but it doesn't matter because I've formed these emotional connections. But as an adult, I'm able to make that decision, right? But as a 13-year-old child, you don't know the danger that you're getting into. Thank God this man did not take her, rape her, and unalive her right off the bat. Thank God she was able to be found safe. I kind of showed the photo of the home while they were talking about it. This is where she was at, a house right next to a daycare, number one. So I partially wonder if the daycare or somebody in his family, something along those lines, are who's seen her and knew that that relationship didn't seem right as she was coming and going from the house, things of that nature. But this is the home where she was at, and right on the outside of this home, this photo, ironically enough, was taken October of 2025, right around the time that she went missing. And he has cameras on the outside of this home. These police could have showed up at this home to go rescue her whenever she did finally reach out, and they could have been attacked, they could have been ambushed, she could have been murdered in the process. There are so many things that could have went horribly, horribly wrong that thank God didn't. They were able to rescue her and get her out of there safely. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah, a group of adults and teens that lure kids via Roblox and other games to Discord, and then they get friendly with them, right? They try to get nudes and do all other kinds of messed up things, kidnap, all those things. And even if we're not looking at kidnapping, right? Even if we're not looking at a situation where these adults with this lower mental capacity that are reaching out to teens because they do not have the testicular fortitude to date people their own age, even if we are looking at men who can't be men with real women and they are targeting teenage girls intentionally or vice versa, maybe women that are targeting teenage boys, in a situation like that, uh, you don't know necessarily if they're going to try to kidnap them, rape, murder, all of those horrible things, right? This could just be a situation where it could be sextortion as well. Unfortunately, there is a large group of like Nigerians and people overseas who have been sextorting people over and over again, where they get these teens, they communicate with them in a way that makes them feel loved and important. And I'll show you mine if you show me yours, and things like that. And as soon as those teens start having those inappropriate communications with these people and their fake profiles, they instantly flip the script and they have all of the teens' personal information and they start threatening to sextort them. They are I'm going to send these pictures to your mom or your pastor or everybody in your school, like I'm going to put these nudes out viral, things of that nature. If you don't send me $500 or if you don't send me 2 Bitcoins or whatever, situations like that. And there are scammer YouTube pages that go through and they pull these scammers into these conversations to blackmail them instead. But there's also been, I said Nigeria, because there actually was a teen boy who was sextorted and he committed suicide. And uh, they did actually bring 2 Nigerians over who had been behind that sextortion and did charge them. for the crimes that they had committed. Yes, please make sure you guys take a moment to tap the like button. It does help the channel grow. It does not mean that you like this case. It does not mean that you necessarily like what's happening, but it does help us be able to continue doing what we do over here at Sleuth Mom. We are rebuilding. I know it says 10,000 subscribers, but we are rebuilding because I did go, kind of on a hiatus for a little while. We were dealing with some medical issues with my daughter and trying to just figure things out. We did find out she has progressive hearing loss. She does have hearing aids now. And so we're kind of on the other side of that bridge now. And hopefully we're going to be getting back into more regular streams as we get back into these cases and stuff like that. So take a moment, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love to see you join our Sleuth family. Also, I did gift a few memberships during that thing. And thank you guys who have been here and have been members and not members. People who are regular subscribers, it makes a big, huge difference just being here, hitting the like button and watching the streams. We appreciate you guys. So this is him, though. This is Christian Delgado. This is the man who was accused of kidnapping Wynter Wagoner, and I'm going to go ahead and read this article to you and play this video. This is about his his court hearing that he just had yesterday during his arraignment in Kentucky. So I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Missing 13-year-old was found safe in Maryland. 37-year-old Christian Delgado made his first court appearance today in Rockcastle County. He's accused of kidnapping Wynter Wagoner. Minutes after that hearing, several law enforcement agencies came together to discuss details of that case. WKYT's Maggie Rickerby was there. She has our top story, or the story that's new at 4.
It was the effort of multiple agencies across state lines to find 13-year-old Wynter Wagoner safe and sound. After more than 2 months of searching, investigators say Wynter Wagoner was found in a home in Silver Spring, Maryland, with 37-year-old Christian Delgado. He was arrested that day and charged with kidnapping. According to his arrest warrant, he met the teen online and drove her from Florida to Kentucky to pick her up, then drove her back to Florida and eventually to Maryland. It took the efforts of the community, FBI, U.S. Marshals, local authorities.
Just want to point out, this is what the
U.S. Marshals, local U.S.
FBI,
U.S. Marshals, FBI, U.S.
It's going too fast.
The effort.
There you go. That's what the people during the press conference looked like. Just wanted to point that out because, of course, we could not actually see anything during the press conference because the live video feed was absolutely terrible. But so this is the people who were actually speaking to us during that press conference. Like I said, I kept seeing little snippets everywhere, but not the full video. So wanted to make sure that the full video was out there so that people could not see, but at least hear what they had to say. Hi, Lee. So good to see you.
Of the community, FBI, U.S. Marshals, local authorities, and beyond to find her.
70 plus days to help bring a missing child home. This is a good day. It's a day to celebrate a success and a life and a family restored. And we are looking forward to what the days ahead bring.
Monday morning, Delgado entered a not guilty plea to a felony charge of kidnapping. Officials say they expect more charges in Maryland, Florida, and another jurisdiction in Kentucky. According to Deputy United States Marshal Collier Phillips, a federal criminal investigation is ongoing. They also say a federal detainer has been lodged on Delgado for a federal complaint warrant that has been issued for his arrest. Delgado's preliminary hearing is scheduled for March 11th, but officials say they expect he will be indicted before the end of the month here in Kentucky. In Rockcastle County, Maggie Rickerby, WKYT.
And coming up on WKYT News at 6, we'll hear more from those law enforcement leaders at today's news conference.
Also,
Okay, so there we are. So I just want to point out we are live 2 times. Somebody did just ask me in text message. We are live twice. One is a vertical stream, one is the regular horizontal stream. If you're not seeing people in the chat, they're likely on the opposite stream. So for example, if I show this message right now and you're not seeing that on your end, it's because they're on the other stream. So there are people kind of both places. I can set it so that we can show the comments on stage so that way you guys can see what people are saying on each stream. I just wasn't sure how that's going to affect the closed caption because that is available also. So I know you would have never guessed that that's what you were looking at earlier. That video feed was terrible. It was just so bad. So I don't know. But I did want to show to you guys. So they mentioned the missing kids in Kentucky during that live stream. This shows 39. He said there was 24, I think is what he said, active cases. And so these are the missing children that are currently in Kentucky still missing. I can't show every single one throughout the entire United States during this live stream, but I did think it's important to go ahead and show these ones that are still out there at this moment. Now, the problem is a lot of these kids have very little information surrounding their disappearance. And for those of you guys who are not familiar with how these missing cases work, a lot of times whenever you have kids that are in foster care or in child services care in some way, shape, or form, maybe not even quite at a foster home, but they're at a group home, a lot of times we don't see detailed information be put out on these streams. And that's kind of what made Wynter's case a little bit more unique. Thank God for her dad and her family, her biological father, and the people who were surrounding her loved ones that came out to kind of give details about where she could possibly be. Because even though she was currently in foster care, she did have a large online presence come out and start searching for her that made her case unique. But as you see in Isabella's case, Isabella has been missing since December 17th, 2025, Shepherdsville, Kentucky. She's 16 years old. What we have on her is a blurry picture and then just last seen on December 17th. We have no area that she was last seen in. We have no description of where she was last seen. We don't know where she was at. We don't know what she was wearing. Very, very little information about that. And so it gets really frustrating with some of these missing kids because it's almost like you post a picture, you tell us that they're gone, but is there any actual effort to find these missing children? And it just makes me sick because here we are again. I'm going to say this name wrong, but Lamisha Garcia, she has been missing since December 1st. Again, no information whatsoever. Louisville, Kentucky, 16 years old at the time of her disappearance. Again, we're just sitting here with a semi-blurry picture and one sentence about her. Hi, I feel like a mill watching over on Twitch. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. So, I mean, we'll go down through these because, as I said, these are kids who are missing in Kentucky currently. Wynter was found safe after 73 days, but Autumn, November 6th, she's been missing since. No detailed information. Some states are better than others. These ones are nice because at least they include the photos. Sometimes whenever these missing teens go missing, there isn't even photos. There's just a gray screen, and it's just frustrating. Yeah, they probably write them off when they're 16 years old, thinking that they left on their own and not kidnapped, but they were probably lured and being sex trafficked, most likely. That's something that we kind of talked about on previous streams with the crunch down on the border and not allowing people to be able to cross the border and things like that. These traffickers have not been able to bring in new victims. And so that, in my opinion, could lead to more of these teens being targeted online to be lured out of their homes, to leave on their own accord to go with somebody. But it does not necessarily mean that they are still with that person, and that they're where they want to be, right? We have seen that in previous cases. Kaylee Jones is a good one because she left on her own. She got into an Uber and went to a location that she was told to go to, but then she was not able to go home for several months as she was not able to get out. And so it happens. Here's another one, Lillian. She has been missing since October the 18th. I'm just going to pull these up. Again, most of them do not even have a description. No information about what is going on. So I'm just going to one at a time pull these up. This is like the most we've seen, right? Both photos are of James. He may still be in the local area, or he may travel to Mount Vernon or Greensboro, Kentucky. Caution, if located, do not approach and immediately contact law enforcement. So he was 17 when he disappeared. Right, like a lover boy method, and lure them out. And once they're in person, grasp, they don't let them leave. We've seen that even with the girl who was kidnapped from the Mavericks game. She fully was aware that she was walking out of that location with a grown adult man. She fully was aware that she was leaving with somebody that she shouldn't be leaving with. But she was not aware that that man was going to take her to a motel, chain her to a bed for a week, and have multiple people rape her over the course of those days. And so that happened. That was a real life thing that happened to a teenager who thought that she was just leaving with some hot guy that she liked, and unfortunately got put through horrible, horrible situations, put on drugs so that she couldn't escape, and raped, and thank God wasn't murdered because police found her. I mean, you're not going to tell me that these people brutalize children and then just let them go eventually. I don't think so. So here's another one. No information, Alyssa Collins. And I'm just going to pull them up because they did mention them in the press conference. He's been missing since August 19th. This is it. No info. 17 now. Doesn't mean that they were 17 when they went missing. And unfortunately, whenever people see teens, a lot of times, I would say any child over the age of like 10 or 11 at this point, people just kind of like, oh, well, they're just a runaway. And it gets frustrating because it's like, no, you don't know that this child is in a good circumstance. You don't know that Tristan Voss, for example, is out there because he wants to be. Just because he left on his own accord does not mean that he is still able to escape whatever situation that he is in. Does not mean that they are able to make the decision to go home. This is another one that says, if located, do not approach, immediately contact law enforcement. Makes you wonder why they put that on there. I'm curious about that. Hi, Hope in Jesus. How are you? So this is Lillian. It says that she may also go by the name Lily. She has tattoos on her right hand chest. When she was last seen, her hair was dyed black. Here is another photo of her. With Wynter, you're still wondering what happened in Florida. She obviously thought that that's where she was going. Right, because he took her there first. And she had even told a cousin that, yes, she ran away and that she was going to Florida or something along those lines. And then next thing you know, she was in Maryland. And people were online kind of like, oh, well, she just threw a fit because, he took her to Maryland and she wanted to be in Florida. And it's like, um, obviously he misled her. Obviously. So all photos shown are of Alexandria. There's just so many. And unfortunately, you can't even do like a video. I used to try to do videos on every missing case so that every missing child had a video out there so that if somebody would Google their name, that they would be able to see a YouTube video and find out some more information about that missing person. But how do you make a video about this? How do you make a video about China Duke, who has one sentence, last seen on October 23rd. So it says missing since September 8th, last seen on October 23rd. So that means at some point she was seen again. But how do you do a video about that? With no family speaking out, with no one raising awareness about what is going on, nobody to care for them enough to say, hey, this person is missing. Hey, here's some info about this individual. 9 years old for Sophia Perez. We totally covered this one. This one we covered, Beaver Dam, Kentucky. Sophia and Eden were abducted by their mother, Patricia Hernandez, on September 29th, 2023. A felony warrant for kidnapping was issued for Patricia on November 2nd, 2022. Yeah, it makes you wonder how much they misled her about. I don't know. I don't know. It's so hard to say. Here's the link for this one's brother. No photo for the mom, though. So we're just going to keep going through. Sorry, there's only a few more. But I just want to make sure that we put this out there. Because it's not just about missing Wynter. There are other folks out there. There are other kids that have now aged. Look, 2020 was when they went missing, age now 20 years old. She was missing when she was or this is her age progress photo I see. So she would have been 6 years ago. 6 years ago, 14 when she went missing. Where does a 14-year-old go for 6 years? This means that Rosalind has never tried to get her driver's license. Rosalind has never used her social security number to get a job somewhere. So what happens to a 14-year-old? What happens to a 14-year-old missing for 6 years? If you remember, Alicia Navarro went missing and was found eventually because she walked into the police department so that she could get her because she wanted to get her driver's license and she knew she was considered a missing child. I find it hard to believe that these kids are okay and went missing on their own whenever they've been missing this many years. This one, 11 years she's been gone. So she's 23 now. So 11 years ago, she would have been 12 years old. So Emma Lauren McCoy has never tried to get her license, has never gotten a job somewhere. Otherwise, police would have found her and she would no longer be considered a missing child. So what happened to her? So this one, it says she was allegedly abducted by her father, Michael McCoy, on September 1st. A federal warrant for international parent kidnapping was issued for Michael on July 31st, 2017. They may have traveled to Turkey or the Netherlands. So she might be overseas. And I know that we have people that watch from other countries. Do we have people in Turkey? I'd have to look at my YouTube algorithm thing now. But it doesn't matter where you're watching from because sometimes these kids could be absolutely anywhere. So the problem with that is a lot of times whenever you have kids, Lise, that are in the foster care system, the foster parents in certain states are not allowed to share certain information. They're not allowed to take photos of the children. They're not allowed to put things out publicly. And so really then it comes back on the biological family to be able to share the information that is necessary, because a lot of times the foster parents may have very limited photos and things like that because of the social media contracts that most states have regarding foster parents. And so sometimes there's not more info to get. And then especially if the child is in like a state-run facility, it's so strict. Hide in the bushes. They may take them, although never get, yeah. So again, this is him, age progressed to 22. He would be 25 now. He's been missing since 2014. And it just keeps going, right? Like, we got a few more. I'm just going to click on them because we're almost there anyways. Tardy, yep. Throw bushes, her tardy slips. You're late? You are late. See, if you wouldn't have said that you were late, though, bushes, we would have just assumed that you were in the bushes. You kind of called yourself out. Right, you have thousands of photos of your kids and family, both in print and digital. You also have old videos, right? Right. But unfortunately, we're dealing with a society, though, where a lot of these kids end up in the system because their parents are on substances, because of bad home situations, things like that. A lot of times you have parents who care more about their habits than they do or their significant others, right? Because we have some cases where maybe mom lost custody because her boyfriend was abusing the children, things like that, or vice versa. Maybe dad lost custody because the boyfriend or the girlfriend was abusing. It's hard to say. It is. It's so flawed. Uh, I can really go into people's Fourth Amendment rights and rant and rave right now because I always get so frustrated whenever I talk about the foster care system and the right to privacy for the adults that are involved in the CPS investigations and things like that. The right to privacy for the people who have parent or children who are being adopted, the right to privacy for people who have kids that are in the foster care system. And it's something that I get very frustrated about because we have so many kids who go through the foster care system and they're abused. We have so many kids who get adopted just to be a paycheck for a family and they're abused. We have so many kids who go through this CPS investigation and the claims are real. The children are being abused and they get taken out of the home for a brief period of time and then they're placed back into the home with abusive parents and things like that. And because these investigations are so private, maybe their neighbor doesn't realize that that child's in danger. Maybe people don't realize that the person had lost custody X amount of times, right? We seen that in Oakley Carlson's case, where she was taken out of the home because her parents were abusing drugs and they were uh, not good parents. And then after a certain period of time, she was placed back into home with no follow-up care, nobody checking up on her to make sure that her parents weren't still using drugs, nobody checking up on her to make sure that nobody was abusing her, no follow-up protocols whatsoever. And Oakley Carlson is believed to be deceased at this moment, and her parents are all both walking free. Her parents are both walking free. Nobody is being held accountable for the unfortunate death of Oakley Carlson. Same situation with Ariel Sellers, except for opposite, right? She was taken from her parents because of drug abuse. She was placed into a foster home of people who had been violent criminals. The stepfather was literally a convicted felon for violent criminal acts. Her adopted mother was literally a convicted criminal for drug substance abuse. And they took her out of a home where substance abuse allegedly was happening and placed her into a home with a violent criminal and a substance abuser. To people who were literally posting photos of themselves with stacks of cash and drugs all over the table. And within 6 weeks of her being inside of that home, her biological mother, who was trying to get clean, her biological mother, who was trying to fix her life in Hawaii, it's very, very hard. Within 6 weeks of her being in that home, her biological mother said that her child was being abused, called police multiple times. Witnesses had seen Ariel being punched in the face by her stepmother. Literally seen her being punched in the face. Ariel was going to her visits with her mom that she was allowed to have and crying that she was starving, crying that she hadn't been fed, crying that Lehua would not feed her. Do you know how Ariel Sellers eventually died? She died from starvation and being suffocated. They were taking this child for years. She walked into social services with a broken leg that had not been treated, dragging her leg behind her on the day that the adoption was finalized. And the courts finalized the adoption, even though all of these claims were there, all of these claims of the abuse and things like that. And they gave custody of Ariel Sellers, aka Isabella Kalua, if you want to look it up. But they gave custody of her to these monsters who were keeping her in a dog crate in the bathroom, duct taping her mouth shut because they were tired of hearing her cries. They put padlocks on all of the cupboards and on the fridge and things like that because she was trying to steal their food. And it's just the follow-up care and the right to privacy sometimes I think is detrimental in some of these cases to these children, because if there was follow-up care, if social services was going in and out of that home and checking on Ariel Sellers, aka Isabella Kalua, if they were going into that home and following up, if these kids who go through this system were made to go see a counselor, a mandated reporter every 2 weeks for mental health care, because I'm sorry, going through this is a lot. It's a lot to go through traumatic events. Even if they were going through these situations and then getting follow-up care such as mental health care, so that they're seeing a mandated reporter, so that whenever she's crying that she's being starved, whenever she's crying that she's being abused and things like that, she has somebody to tell that's going to listen to her. But it doesn't happen. And so the whole situation, the whole topic gets me so fired up because some of these cases are just so tragically disgusting with the things that these kids go through over and over and over and over and over again. It's just infuriating. It just really is. Hi, Fly Girl. So good to see you. Welcome, welcome. So, but let me get back to Wynter's case. Obviously, I wasn't talking about her just a second ago. She was in foster care at the time of her disappearance. Her dad had been in prison, and her biological mom had lost custody because of alleged abuse. Her biological mom's boyfriend is being charged actually with abusing Wynter at some point, allegedly. So we have all of that going on in this case as well, as far as the things go. But her biological family came out in full force looking for Wynter, and that's why her case was not just another flyer with one sentence. That's why her case was able to go all over TikTok, all over social media, and was able to be spread so that people could see that she was missing, so that people could look for her and be aware of what's going on. So, hi, Patricia. Where's Patricia at? Did I miss somebody saying hello? Oh, man. There we go. Hi, Patricia. So sorry. That's one of the bad things about having both streams going at the same time. Just trying to make sure that I see all of the comments. So I do apologize for that. So this is a clip of her dad after she was found. Just the relief you can kind of hear whenever Wynter Wagoner is found, how happy her dad is. So
Been watching very closely.
Just kidding. It's very low. I don't know what is up with the volume on like everything, but we will just audio boost it. And once again, I will say closed captions are available if you guys need it.
A 13-year-old kidnapped and found here in Maryland will soon head home to Kentucky now. This is 13-year-old Wynter Wagoner, who was last seen at her home in Kentucky back in October. And tonight, her father speaking out about this bizarre case and how his daughter is doing today. WJZ's Ashley Paul joining us live in Baltimore tonight. And Ashley, we're now learning more about where she has been during this time.
Yeah, hey, Rick. Well, Dusty Wagner tells us that he's just feeling really grateful that his daughter Wynter has been located safely, and he's looking forward to her coming back home to Kentucky. Now, as for her alleged kidnapper, he says that this is all a big misunderstanding.
It's amazing. It's a gift from God. Nothing less than that.
2 months of uncertainty, of questions, of fear over the whereabouts of 13-year-old Wynter Wagoner have plagued her father, Dusty, for 2 months. Tonight, he breathes a sigh of relief.
She's blaming herself for a lot of stuff that she doesn't understand, because she is a child. She doesn't understand. Other than that, I think she's doing okay. She's ready to come home. She's very ready to come home, she told me.
Wynter was
He said she's blaming herself for a lot of things she doesn't understand, and I can only imagine that that's the case because of the fact that a lot of these kids they don't realize what they're getting themselves into. And unfortunately, the only reason that I realize what they're getting themselves into is because of how many cases and how many times we have seen this story over and over again. And if you look back at my first video that I did on this, my title said, I've seen this before. I already know what we're getting into. And sure enough, that's exactly it. She had been lured out of her home. She met up with this guy. She walked down the road. She got into his car and he took her.
last seen at her home in Mount Vernon, Kentucky back in mid-October. And tonight, 37-year-old Christian Alexander Delgado is charged in her kidnapping after the girl was found in a home in Silver Spring last week. According to the arrest warrant, family and friends said Wynter was planning to run away for several weeks. On December 26th, the teen called her aunt to give her the address of where she was staying in Maryland. That's when her aunt reported the information to U.S. Marshals. Dusty says a neighbor recognized the girl from news reports as well and stepped in to help.
I want to say thank you to her for one, because without that, I never would have found her. It is a blessing from God that woman called us, because I feel like she saved my daughter's life.
Delgado told.
And so that's what I was saying earlier, that the lady next door, probably from the daycare, would be my guess, seen all of this and seen all of this and said that, she offered her phone. She offered her phone so that Wynter could call, so that Wynter could go home. And exactly, BC. He was the adult in the situation. He's the one to blame. I'm sorry, but if you even have a second guess about anything, that you're talking to somebody online and you're getting ready to go meet up with that person and you think that they could possibly be, on the younger side of things, he's claiming, he's swearing, I'm not guilty. She told me she was 18, blah, 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 blah. You never thought to ask for some type of verification of her age when she had to walk 2 miles down a back country road to be able to get out there to meet you? You couldn't just pick her up at her home? Why'd you have to sneak her out of the house? Why'd she have to sneak out of the house to come get you if she was 18 years old and allowed to leave on her own accord? If she was an adult and able to make her own decisions, sir, why did you have to go all shady and pick her up like that? Why'd she have to deactivate her social media accounts and not utilize her phone? Why'd she have to leave her devices at home? Why did all of those things happen if you allegedly thought she was 18? I'm sorry, but what actually took place does not add up to what you are saying, sir. Let me be up there to prosecute this case. I wish I even had the ability to. Like, seriously, I hope that they ask him questions like that. I would love it if he would take the stand. I would love to be able to, see them actually ask him, how does that make sense in your mind? Maybe, just maybe, if you are a old man, 37 is kind of, we're old. Sorry, guys. I'm 36. 37, we're getting up there. To talk to somebody that you think is 18, that's a little bit too far out of your age range. Maybe you should verify that she's not a 13-year-old girl. That's all I'm saying. Maybe ask for some type of proof that she's not a 13-year-old girl. Or a 13-year-old boy if it's going the other direction. Maybe look for some more verification outside of just, oh yeah, I'm 13, or I'm sorry, I'm 18. Giggle, giggle. Come get me. I'll sneak out. Like, what? She has to sneak out? She's still going to school? You're going to tell me he didn't know that she was still going to school daily? He didn't know whenever there was gaps in their conversations back and forth that she was still going to school? He's very much so a creep. Very much so a creep. I don't care what nationality he is. I really don't care. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the fact that he's a 37-year-old man. I don't know if she looks 13. I would say she might look to be in the 15-ish range. I do think that she does look a little bit older for her age. Let me pull this up, especially some of the different filters and things like that these kids use these days. All these Snapchat filters and things like that. We know she was utilizing Snapchat. We try to find a picture that's not all crapped. I meant cropped. That's funny. But I would say, she might, especially since she has piercings and things like that, she might pass for 15. But I would not guess 18. I would not look at this child and say 18 years old. Not a chance. Not a chance. But I guess if you're a old man who old man, it's so funny because he's only a year older than me, but I guess if you are an old man who can't date somebody your own age because you just don't have the testicular fortitude or the maturity level, or I don't know, the ability to get women your own age to talk to you, I guess it would be harder to realize that this is a child. I guess when you're desperate, it's hard to tell. Yes, so that's why I pulled these ones up. So without filters and no makeup, she does look much younger. I would say 14, 13. much younger without the filters and stuff like that. But let's be honest. I mean, she was using Snapchat and different filters and stuff to talk to him. Even at that, I would still only say like 15. 15 tops. So, and this is a 37-year-old man. Yeah, even if she was 18, he'd be almost 20 years older than her. And don't get me wrong, my husband is 10 years older than me. It's not unheard of for women to go after older guys because unfortunately, most guys my age are very immature. And so I have always gravitated towards guys that were a little bit older. Always. But really, they banned filters in China and they might ban it here because of how destructive it is. I could see that. I mean, how many people second guess, what you look like and don't value your own personal appearance because you have seen the perfect model and the perfect version of you so many times. We all have flaws. We are human beings. Right? I wonder how many times she said 6'7" to him in a conversation. Like, I'm sure there were things that were evident and whenever they were conversing that was very clear that she was way too young for him. However, maturity level of most men, I don't know. I don't know if he has mental health issues. I don't know. Well, obviously he does. Obviously he has something going on that he's chasing after a child on the internet. He could have waited until she was over legal age, right? He could have waited 5 years. I doubt he would have waited 5 years to talk to her. There's so many things, but I don't fault Wynter for what happened to her. And I'm going to say this too. I don't actually fault the adoptive or the foster family either, because one of the reasons that she ran away, she had a secondary device that she had gotten off of somebody that worked on Wi-Fi only because she was grounded from her cell phone because they had found her using her cell phone inappropriately. So they were trying. They were trying to hold her back from the internet. They were trying to monitor what she was doing. They were trying to follow up with that. But unfortunately, it's so hard. It's so hard to know what your kids are doing. I suggest everybody lock down your internet, monitor which devices are signed into your internet, make sure that you have protections listed for your child, make sure that you're notified whenever things change. Every night whenever we go to bed, well, actually before that, my kids know 9 o'clock, 9:30, depending, the internet for the entire house shuts off. It's so funny because my husband has to come because I'm working usually after 9:30, and he has to come and he'll be like, can you turn the Wi-Fi on downstairs? But I shut everything off except for my work computer until I'm finished working, and then the work computer gets shut down. Why? Because I want to protect my children from themselves. That's why. Maybe I'm too much of a helicopter mom. Maybe I look too much into things, but I don't think so. I think that I'm being a parent, and I wish that more people would take the initiative to look into things. But I think the reality is there's a lot of people who do not know how dangerous this stuff is. There's a lot of people who do not realize how many grown men your child is talking to, who do not realize how many grown adults, I shouldn't just say men, because there are women predators out there too, in alarming numbers lately. We are seeing more and more women predators out there, but there are alarming amounts of people who are on the internet who are not who they say they are, and they are targeting your child, period. So I don't fault her for what happened to her. This guy's a monster. Or I don't know. Maybe not so much a monster. Maybe he just doesn't, like I said, have the testicular fortitude to handle a real woman. They're a 67 vertical mode donor sticker. I don't even know what that is. There's a donor sticker. How do I even look at that? I'm too old to use the vertical side of things. This is my first time doing it. For anybody watching vertical, I never do vertical streams. And I thought, you know what? Let's just try it and see what happens. And this is an entire new thing for me. Oh, there is a 6-7. That's hilarious. I see it. That's so funny. Well, thank you so much, B-Tim, for the 6-7. So let's see here. Yeah, that's what parents do, right? You invest time into your child and you teach them before the world does. You sent me a sticker already too. See, I don't know how to see them. I don't know how to see them like without looking at my phone. I guess I don't know how to get them to pop up on the live stream, if that makes sense. I'm gonna have to like explore that. Let me see if I look. Either way it goes. Yeah, but you have to be involved with your kids. You have to teach them before the world does. Let me play the last 30 seconds of this video and then we will get going, unfortunately, because I do have to work tonight.
Investigators, he met Wynter online and drove from Florida to Kentucky to pick her up and brought her back to Florida before eventually heading here to Maryland. Dusty says his prayers have been answered and he's glad to finally wake up from this nightmare.
Like I said, I know 9 out of 10 kids in her situation never made it back out of it, you know, and I feel so overwhelmed and so relieved, and I'm so thankful to God.
Now, Delgado called the situation a misunderstanding in court, adding that he has been a model citizen. He has another court date scheduled here in Maryland for the end of the month. Live on your corner in Baltimore, I'm Ashley Paul, WJZ.
So that was an older video from a few days ago whenever she was actually found. Let me do it like this. And so with that being said, so he's not going to have another court date in Maryland. He has at this point been extradited to Kentucky. And so that is where he will face his charges. I do still look for more charges to come. She is still being talked to. It sometimes takes several weeks before these kids are out of the investigation process because they do go through this as gentle as possible with these kids who have been through these horrific situations. Being that she was with him for 73 days, I do look for unfortunate charges to come in regards to sexual things and stuff like that. If she allowed the SANE exam, she is over the age of 12, so I'm not sure if she consented to that or not. I just find it hard to believe that they wouldn't have done something. He wouldn't have done something to her in that amount of time, unfortunately. But regardless, I am glad that she is home. Well, she's not home. I'm glad that she is safe. I can't say home because they are still trying to get custody of her back. Dusty had been working to get custody of her whenever all of this took place. And so I'm hoping that he is able to continue with that process and get custody of her back. I do not believe that she is going to go back to the same foster home that she was in before. They will likely place her somewhere else if they place her at all. This is sometimes something that will keep her like in a detention type center or in a group home type situation until they can get her placed back with her family sometimes, because of the fact that she did quote unquote run away, right? She did willingly leave her home and go with somebody. And so it did turn into kidnapping. He did take her across state lines and things of that nature, which makes those charges much more serious. But how things will work out on the counselor / reunification side of things, it's going to take a little bit more time as they handle it all with kid gloves and make sure that she's okay. And I do know that they have started a group post where they are collecting items for her. She has like an Amazon wish list. I'm not sure who created the Amazon wish list for her, but they are getting different items for her so that whenever she comes back, that they can give her items and show her how much the community cares and loves her, and how much, she was missed while she was gone. And so let's see here. Let me see if I can find that list. Maybe. They did turn her Facebook group into like a bring home the children type group now. Wynter's Watch says, now that Wynter has been located, the fight is not over. We will continue advocating for meaningful legislation changes so that no child never ever goes missing without immediate alerts, communication, and accountability going forward. This group will also be used to spread awareness for other missing children. Helping families and keeping their loved ones visible brings them home faster. So thank you for every single person who refused to let Wynter be forgotten. And we're going to continue to not let her be forgotten. We're going to continue to follow Christian Delgado's case. I am more so going to start using just his names and pictures in the titles. I do still have her name there until people get more familiar with his situation. But we are looking at a situation where she's not going to want to see these videos of herself at some point. She is not going to want to have to relive this every single day. And so it probably about a month I will remove her name completely from YouTube on my end. I know not everybody does that, but we try to protect these kids and their futures whenever they are at this age range. So, but yeah, so this is all these different kids that have gone missing and that have been found, a lot of them over the last couple days. Let me see if I can find I don't know. If I find it though, I will put it in the description of this video for the list of items that they are. If anybody wants to purchase anything, this is a no pressure situation. You do not have to purchase Wynter items to let her know she's cared about. I'm sure commenting on the videos, commenting on the Facebook page, just sending your thoughts and loves that way, praying for her recovery, for how she heals from this entire situation. All of that would be completely valid ways to respond to this. You do not have to send her items to show her that you care. But I did think that that was a sweet gesture that they had came up with in coordination with her biological family to kind of just show her that she is loved. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and jump off here, you guys. Like I said, I do work at 9 o'clock. So I appreciate everybody who came. Thank you, everybody who has joined in on the vertical stream. It's, again, a new thing for me. I'm going to try to change my graphics and different things like that so that stuff fits better vertically, because I do want you guys to have the best viewing experience whenever you are watching the live stream and things like that. But please take a moment to hit the like button if you have not done so already. It truly does help the channel grow and helps us get other cases out there whenever we are covering missing stories. And so, take a second, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I would love to see you guys here again soon, and consider joining as a member. That is one thing that helps pay for the different streaming services and platforms. And so we do appreciate any new members and family members that join us at the Sleuth family. So thank you all. Fly Girl, thank you. Happy New Year. Yeah, thank you so much. Happy New Year's coffee. Man, I drink so much energy drinks. I'm not really a coffee person as much. I drink so many energy drinks though on New Year's Eve just to even try to stay awake. You don't realize how old you're getting until you try to hang out with the younger crowd to stay up, because I was chaperoning my son while he was hanging out with his teenage friends at the church. We do everything at the church on New Year's so that everybody stays safe and stuff like that. And it was exhausting. By the end of the night, I was dragging. And then we had 8 inches of snow on top of that fall on New Year's Eve. So then it was like we couldn't even leave the church until the snow plows went past. So I was constantly watching like the snow plow tracker so that we could look for a safe window for everybody to travel home. And so it was a very eventful night. But thank you so much for your donation, Fly Girl. I love you so much. And I love everybody that came. I appreciate you guys, except for B Tim. B Tim, I hate you. You're welcome. Have a good night. Bye.